Hello, welcome back to Let's Talk Sports with Rick, my good friend Jack, who is still on the East Coast enjoying a family vacation and doing what he's doing out there with his mom and dad and his kids and just having a good time in New York. How you doing, Jack?
I am doing wonderful, sir.
How's life in New York?
Still hot, still raining.
Still hot. You want to talk about hot? Come
I'm
back
sorry.
home to Vegas.
I apologize with your 116 out there.
Oh, hey, it was what, 9 days in a row over 110. I think we're going to be at 108 today. It's been a little hotter than normal, a lot of records set, but it could be a lot worse. So, what's going on with the sports world in New York? The Mets are in first place. What was it? The first time since 79 or 92 that the Mets were in first place at the All-Star break. Are they going to be able to hold off the Phillies?
Absolutely, they're going to be able to hold off the Phillies, even though it's a 3-game. They're only up 3 games, but hey, first place is first place. That's all that matters.
The Phillies will catch them. You heard it here first. I don't think anybody else in that division is going to catch up. But did you watch the All-Star game?
Yes, I did.
Well, your man Pete Alonso was banging that ball with 500 and something feet. Man, he dominated that. Ohtani was supposed to be the guy, and the bets were all on Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani's going to win the home run contest. He didn't get out the first round. He lost to Juan Soto.
Yeah, it was good from my perspective. Of course, he came in there with the hype. He's basically right now the golden child.
Oh, yeah.
And then with the Mets, hey, as a Mets fan, it was good. This is one of the good things 2 years in a row for us.
Yeah. And I hope the Mets hang in there. And they got a good team. Having Lindor on that team really helps. He knows how to win, and I think his leadership is a big difference there in New York. But it's interesting at the All-Star break, a lot of interesting trends. And you look at the Dodgers, they continue to play all right. The Giants got the best record in baseball, which is crazy. 2 things about the Giants which are crazy right now, because been really bad the last couple of years. They have the best record in baseball, and they've hit the most home runs in baseball. If somebody asked you who's hit the most runs in baseball and you really didn't know, would you ever say the Giants? I wouldn't. The most home runs in baseball.
I'd probably go Boston first before I say Giants.
You'd say Giants?
No, I'd say Boston.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Or the Yankees. I mean, wow, the Giants. But I think they're having a great year and they'll make the playoffs. But I don't think, they're going to get in as the winner. I think they'll get in as a wild card. The Dodgers, what can you tell me in that? Trevor Bauer is out with his personal problem now. Kershaw is out with an inflamed elbow. 2 star pitchers are down for the Dodgers. Do they have enough hitting and enough pitching to go on and win this thing still?
Yes, absolutely. The core of the team, in a sense, the culture, it's a winning culture. It's next man up.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Despite, you have a San Diego, the Padres are, they're hyped and they're this and that. Guess what?
Hyped.
The Dodgers, they kept on going. San Francisco, they're what? A game behind San Francisco.
Yeah.
So San Francisco needs to make sure that they continue to win, because the Dodgers are right on their heels.
The Dodgers are coming. I actually think that the best team in the West, in the National League is what I'm talking about. The National League, I think the best team is Milwaukee, don't you? Or is the Dodgers the best team?
I'm still not sold on Milwaukee yet. It's just, they just surprise me. And maybe it's because I'm not seeing enough games. They're not prime time. They're not the flashy team to see like what's going on. Why are they winning all these games? Maybe I need to watch more to say like I believe.
They're a pretty good team, and I'll tell you something about them. And managing is very important. Baseball is the one sport where a manager can make a big difference. Strategy, it's a game of purists. It's making the right decisions, because you have many decisions to make in a baseball game in 9 innings. And I just think that they're well managed. It's a good organization. you know, you're looking in the National League, you got the Mets on top, you got Milwaukee on top, you got the Giants on top with the Dodgers breathing down their neck. I can see the Dodgers win in the West. I can see, Milwaukee winning their division, and I can see Philadelphia beating out the Mets. That's how I see it right now.
You're welcome to your opinion.
Yeah, I know. You think the Mets are going to hang on, but they're going to have a very long summer. You heard it here. Again, I like to say you heard it here first. And then over in the East, Boston continues to play very, very well. Is Toronto going to catch Boston? Toronto's a good ball club, man. And you look at that and you say, wow, Boston.
Hey, be
Toronto.
careful what you say, because guess what? They have the same record.
Oh, I know. They're very close. In Toronto, very, very good ball team in Tampa Bay. A very good ball club. But, I like that Toronto team. It's a good young team. They got Guerrero and Bichette and some of these young kids. That is a very good team in Toronto. I hope that they make the playoffs. I really like what they're doing over there. That's a good young team. Guerrero's a hell of a player, right?
Yes.
You see that home run he hit last night in the All-Star game? What was it, 485? What?
So what's funny about that, like you have a guy like that where, 15 years ago, his dad brought him to the All-Star game and hit a home run. And then 15 years later, he brings his dad to the All-Star game and hits a home run. Wow.
I got a trivia question for you. Who are the three families, father and son, that have all hit home runs in the All-Star game? Who are the three families?
I would say now we have Guerrero. So what about is Griffey in there?
Griffey family, yes, and one more is easy.
I don't know.
The Bonds.
Bobby
and Barry Bonds.
His dad.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah. His father was a good player. Bobby Bonds was a good ball player. You remember him? And then he became a coach with the Giants. His father.
Yeah.
He actually coached Barry.
I don't remember. Wow.
Well, that's for us old guys. You're too young, that's why. But that's the three families. Isn't that interesting?
That was very interesting.
In All-Star play, so there's a good trivia question for your friends. Anyways, second half will be starting, I guess, tomorrow, and it'll be fun. Baseball gets fun now. We start getting towards the playoffs, and, injuries, again, will play a big part in it. Keeping pitchers in there. You look at a team like the White Sox, they continue to win. They continue to win in the American League with all those injuries, and they've got like 3 starters out. But the White Sox continue to win. Will Cleveland catch them?
Not to mention that they have like what, they're like 9 games up on Cleveland.
Playing unbelievable. And in the West, of course, Houston is playing unbelievable. Will Oakland catch them? Will the Angels make a playoff bid? That's the one team I'm rooting for in all of baseball, is to see the Angels make the playoffs, because a guy like Mike Trout deserves it, man. He is such a great player. He's been an MVP twice. He's coming back off of the injured list. It's amazing to strain a calf and be out for 2 months. That kid has been out for 2 months. The Angels are about 500. I'm just hoping they got enough to make a run. I really would like to see the Angels do something. That's the one. There's 2 teams I'm really rooting for to make the playoffs: Toronto and the Angels. Those are the 2 sentimental teams for me that haven't been there in a while. I'd like to really see them there. Who you really want to see make the playoffs? Besides the Mets, and then we're going to have be right after baseball. We're going to have to listen about the Jets and the Giants. Oh my God, these New Yorkers, man.
These
homers, it drives me crazy.
Just because I haven't seen them, we haven't seen the Brewers in anything in such a long time, and to see that, hey, on the basketball side, I'm sorry, I'm messing up right now. So Milwaukee, that's who I want to see, and then I want to see Boston.
Yeah,
to continue to win in ways. Here's the thing: as a New Yorker, original New Yorker, the Yankees are pissing me off, and they're not winning games like they should. So Boston, take it.
Yeah. Well, Boston, it's going to be Tampa Bay or Boston. The Yankees, 4 back. I mean, in 4th place, what is it, 11 back, 9 back? It's a lot of games back.
They're 8 back, but
Yeah.
The funny thing is, they have 46 wins, where you have like a second place Cleveland in their division only has 45, and then Cincinnati 48. So they're not doing that bad, but it's just their division leaders are killing them.
Yeah, a lot more is expected of the Yankees than how they're playing. A lot more is expected. And, I don't know if it's getting, times are getting tough for Aaron Boone and he's been around too long. I don't know. I think he's a good manager, just like I think Boston does well because Cora is such a great manager, and he's a player's manager, and I like that about him. And I feel kind of that way about Madden with the Angels. They're players managers, and we'll see what happens. It'll be fun. It gets fun to watch the second half because the games really do count. We're about halfway through the season, and we'll see what happens. But moving on to things that have been kind of fun, we want to congratulate on the Wimbledon side, on the women's, Ash Barty won from Canada. She was the winner in the women's singles. And, pardon?
It was a childhood dream of hers to actually win Wimbledon. I think this is her second major. So
she dominated, and she's the number one female player in the world right now. So I don't know if Serena's days are done. That was kind of sad how it ended there for her at Wimbledon, and getting hurt and tearful and very, very upset. And I almost felt like she was feeling that was going to be her last time to play at Wimbledon as a professional. I'm sure she'll do some exhibitions and that stuff in the future. But is Serena about done?
It's funny that you said that based on her reaction, and that was exactly my initial reaction because everyone goes through injuries. I just didn't feel that it hurt that much for her to be in crying pain, but it was more the psychological part of it where this might have been her last shot before she probably had to contemplate retirement, and that's the kind of injury it was. So it was, yes, it hurt, plus the emotional side of it.
Yeah, I mean, she continues to play well, but she doesn't continue to play well enough to make it to the finals and win the finals, and it's been a while now, and I just think it's getting time for her to let these younger women take over, and it's tough to retire. Her sister Venus hasn't retired yet, and she's playing but not winning. But they love the game so much. They're such great representatives. Two incredible women that have done so much for the game of women's tennis. So, it's about time for both of them to retire. But it happens to everybody. You do get worn out. I mean, you look at it, and you look at Roger Federer. How much does he have left? And he's a warrior. Well, I got to tell you, Roger Federer is a warrior. I really respect that guy. He keeps coming back. But now, look, he's hurt. He's not going to play in the Olympics.
Yeah, I was just going to say he just pulled out of the Olympics right now because of that knee. So
yeah. So his time is close. But, I mean, Novak Djokovic, he's just the star of the game right now. He's dominating. He's winning majors. He's winning every single tournament. Congratulations to him.
Do you consider him the best of his generation right now?
I think he's the best of all time. I think he's a GOAT. I think he's the greatest of all time. He continues to win big. He continues to win by large margins. He has it in him. He is a fired up guy, man. He plays to win. He's just not,
Yes.
That guy's fired up, man. That guy's fired up. And I love it. But it was a foregone conclusion. Both of the winners, men and women, they both won easily. They're the two top players right now. So, that was a lot of fun. And staying on in the thought of being out in England, how about the big soccer championship between England and Italy at Wembley Stadium? That was the type of thing where Wembley Stadium, England's supposed to win it because they're on their home turf, and Italy ends up taking that thing on penalty shots, and it became a big controversy if England was putting the right guys out there for penalty shots, particularly a 19-year-old kid who, in the end, missed the last penalty shot kick, and Italy won it. So congratulations to Italy. Viva l'Italia! My home country.
Of course you would bring up soccer. We never talk about soccer.
Well, that's a major event. The European Cup, that was a major event to win that. And, it's tough, man. That's a gauntlet. The best teams are over there. Such great teams. And it was a really good tournament, and it was a lot of fun, and it was great to see Italy win, of course. But again, there was a lot of controversy because of the penalty. It went to penalty phase, and I thought when it started that England was going to win that part of the game and win it, but Italy hung in there and won it. I mean, you win the whole thing by one kick.
Hey, at the end of the day, like, this is the kind of soccer match that you're looking for, where, you know, it goes down to the wire and then penalty kicks. Like, that doesn't happen often, but then to see it this way, yeah. And at the end of the day, somebody's got to go home a loser, and it just happens that this time it's England.
Yeah, unfortunate for the fans. I mean, they're playing at home in the famous Wembley Stadium, and I mean, a lot of fanfare, a lot of fans there, man. But Italy had a lot of fans too. I mean, the passion is amazing at European soccer events. The passion is amazing. I see it at no other sporting event like that, whether it be NFL or anything. The passion for soccer events in Europe is just amazing. It's kind of fun to watch, right, the fans? That's a whole another part of the game. I love watching the fans.
They are like another man on the field.
Yeah, and it was great. Speaking of fans and full houses and sold out, the UFC event, big card this last weekend at T-Mobile was sold out. Big, loud crowd. What was your impression? Did you, besides the Conor McGregor thing and that happened, unfortunate for him, but not unfortunate. But what did you think of the event? I thought it was packed with great fights.
It was a I would say a stacked card. So it was like a UFC fan's ultimate card where you had a lot of great fighters, and especially like every time this kid O'Malley fights, you're like,
watch out.
He keeps impressing you over and over and over. But as far as the entire thing, it just makes me happy. Like, sports is like, it makes it feel like sports are officially back.
Yeah, it was great.
Like, and we're back to some type of normalcy.
It was great to see that full house. It was great to see T-Mobile loaded up. All the big stars were there. So many fans. It was such a loud house. There were so many McGregor fans there that got disappointed. But you know, you're right about O'Malley as a lightweight. Man, that kid's nails. And he fought a kid that you got to give the kid credit. He took the fight with only 10 days. The other guy was out, and that kid took the fight 10 days before it, and he hung in there, got beat up pretty bad. I would imagine his face still hurts. But O'Malley, oh my God, man!
Of course.
I imagine O'Malley is. We know he's a top contender. I can't imagine he's not going to be one very soon. It's a tough division. Speaking of tough divisions, you got to think that Conor McGregor's days in that division are about done.
Yeah, like we spoke about before, where you said, you know, basically he's not the best fighter in his division.
No.
Probably not even top 5. You know, when you list off everybody else, and that's from with having a guy that's not even fighting anymore in the division. So I think he's gonna have his surgery. He's gonna have one more fight, and then he's got to call it quits, whether he wins or loses.
Did you hear anything about the recovery time on that injury? And I mean, is it real serious? Is it a long recovery? I didn't hear anything about the medical side of it. It was, believe me, I saw it happen. It was pretty gruesome. But I mean, how long is the recovery on that, or do you recover?
I want to say Anderson Silva was probably out, maybe 18 months before his next fight.
Wow. McGregor doesn't have that much time left, but he'll wait around for the money. The thing about it is you know, leading up to the fight, I mean, everybody's different. There's a lot of McGregor fans out there, and the thing about it is they really in their hearts thought he could win that fight. I never thought he had a chance. And if that fight would have gone on, it would have been ended probably in the second round. But Poirier was dominating him. And then you watch McGregor. He was in a position to take that fight and put the guillotine on him. And he wasn't able to do it because he lacks the strength and he lacks the knowledge of how to put that guillotine on somebody. People don't realize that he is not an expert at that. He's an expert at knocking somebody down, punching the hell out of him, and that's how he wins. The technical grappling on the ground, he's not a grappler. And on the ground, he was really getting pounded. But when he set that guillotine up, he wasn't strong enough. People don't realize he was not strong enough to take that fight when he was in a position. Do you know how many guys that are so adept at that move that would have taken that fight right there? There's a lot of them that would have taken that fight right there. And I looked at it and I said, look, he let him get out of that hold. And I'm like, he's not strong enough to beat him. He doesn't have the physical strength. And you know, and then with the abuse, I mean, there's just you just shouldn't talk that way about another guy and his wife, and to berate somebody like that. I feel you're getting cheap. You're getting very cheap, Connor. You're getting very cheap in your ways because you're not a good fighter anymore. And there's at least 5 guys in that division that will beat him up anytime at any moment.
And the thing is, like, it's different when they're in the octagon. Well, as far as, you know, what's going to be done. But you would never tell this guy on the street about his wife like that because it's different. You don't have a ref coming in there pulling him off of you.
It was cheap. It was terrible. And I don't care how much money you got.
And it was classless.
That's the number one word, classless. And there's no cause for it. And Poirier kept his cool pretty well. And I was really impressed by him because McGregor really had some very disparaging things to say without cause. And when it gets to that point, I can't be a fan of you anymore. I never really was a fan because he's a big mouth. Hey, God bless him. He's made millions upon millions. He made $100 million in the Floyd Mayweather fight that put him on a course to get into whiskey and all kinds of promotions. And he's a very wealthy man. God bless him. God bless him. But I can't stand the guy. And I hope he comes back and gets beat up again.
Hey, so with all that money, he can't buy some class?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he buys those expensive suits, doesn't he? And those expensive sunglasses. But I am not a fan. I'm glad. I have no remorse for what happened. Hey, listen, he broke his leg. I'm happy about it because he got exactly what he deserved. He said that he was going to put the other guy out on the stretcher. Well, he went out on the stretcher, you know what? And that looked pretty bad, being put out on a stretcher. And you can pop up all you want that you were beating him. You were getting your butt kicked, and you were going to continue to. So it was anticlimactic. There was some good fights. It was a great card. I mean, I watched every fight from the prelims, and there were some great prelim fights, but I was real happy that Gilbert Burns, who's been a great pro, who's a great grappler, you know, comes from Brazil. He knows the game. Everybody thought that he was going to lose. He was the underdog, an experienced guy like that. Gilbert Burns just got on the mat and did what he had to do and won that fight, and I was real happy about Gilbert Burns. And the lady Aldana, the Mexican fighter, she fought very well. Of course, Sean O'Malley and Poirier was great. He stuck to his guns, didn't mouth off. But all in all, I thought it was a great card, didn't you?
Yes, absolutely. And for a lot of people that, in a sense, can't afford the pay-per-view side of it, watch the prelims regularly on the ESPN where they come on right now.
Yeah.
You are going to see one of the best up-and-coming fighters fight, and those fighters are trying to make a name for themselves, and those fighters are good, exciting, and you're missing out if you're not watching prelims.
Yeah, you know, I watched the whole card, and it was fun, and I ended up purchasing the ESPN Plus because I was so interested to see what happened in a couple of those fights. So I paid whatever.
No, they got you.
What was it, $80? I don't know. But it was worth it. It's nice this coming week. They're going to show a good fight card, the whole card on ESPN. You can see this weekend you can see the whole fight card. And there's going to be some good fights. But you're right, the up-and-coming guys, you love the way they fight. What humored me a little bit was to see Greg Hardy, great NFL player for the Carolina Panthers, you know, thinking that he's ready for the big time. He won a few fights. He gets in there against a big bad boy and attacks him, you know. And I don't know if you saw it. He attacks the guy, takes one in the eye, and that eye, I mean, I don't know if he'll ever see right again, but that guy was a crack up that won because he's sitting over there drinking beer out of people's shoes and people pouring beer down from the balcony, and what a showman. But Greg Hardy, I felt really, really bad for him. I mean, what's an NFL guy thinking getting in there?
I didn't feel bad for him. It's karma coming his way.
Yeah. Well, he was a pretty good NFL player. Again, he fashions himself as a UFC guy. And it's funny, UFC and getting in the octagon is funny because, you know, it brings back to my memory, I had one of my young sons who decided he was going to be a UFC guy. And we put him in the training, and he was getting ready, and he finally got his first fight out in Arizona. Gets in the octagon right off the bat. His opponent punches him in the face. Blood everywhere. He's stunned. He gets knocked out. My son comes out of the ring. He says, "Dad, this is done. I'm done with this. I'm never going to do this again. I never been punched in the face like that. I never been stunned like that." I said, "Listen, son, hey, I spent all that money for you to train, and this is it." He said, "Dad, I'm never going in the ring again." But these people don't realize when you get stung in the face like that, and I have no desire to ever have wanted to do it, but it cured my son quickly.
Like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah, and then when not only get punched in the face, you see the blood. Okay, well, what did I do? Break my nose? Is my eye socket broken? Is my chin broken? Is my jaw broken? I'll tell you what, I give these guys a lot of credit for the courage, because, I mean, some guys really get beat up in there. Like that kid that fought O'Malley. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but a really, really hard-working kid who hung in there, but he really got tattooed, man. He really got beat up. So it's not for everybody. UFC.
No, not at all.
Yeah. We got Olympics coming up soon. That ought to be interesting with no fans. I'm not excited about it. I hate to see all these games with no fans. I almost feel like they should have canceled it. What are we doing here? You're going to be running the 100, one of the most famous things, in an empty stadium. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? You think it's going to still be good? Or are you going to watch it? Or
yes,
what about the Olympics?
Everyone trains their best to be on that stage. The competition is still going to be there. It's the atmosphere that's going to be different. But the competition is there. These are all, when we consider world-class athletes, these are world-class athletes competing against each other. And it's going to be exciting. I can't wait. Is it going to be different? Yeah, but oh well. Let's do this.
Olympics Olympics are always great, and again, let's do this. But I clearly saw the difference in UFC fighting with nobody there and no fans other than a few judges and stuff, and to see what I saw over the weekend in that crowd. Whoa! You realize the difference, and it's great to have fans back. I'm sorry it didn't work out in Japan, but we wish all the American athletes well, and that'll be fun to watch. It always is. Anything else you want to talk about? This 30 minutes went so quick today. I don't know.
Man, already?
I don't know where it goes.
Hey, I wanted to talk about some basketball, but I guess we gotta.
We'll talk about it on our NBA show.
Our basketball show to hear it.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the basketball you want to talk about, and I know what you want to talk about. So I'll hold it for our NBA show. I know you all enjoy this show. Let's talk sports, and also our NBA show is coming to an end. We got a couple more weeks of it, but we want to thank you for watching today, and we'll catch up with you about the NBA and some basketball thoughts that Jack has on our next show. But we appreciate you watching. We appreciate you liking us. Our audience has really grown. Our numbers have gone up to where they've never gone. We continue to gather audience and people that love the show. So we thank you very, very much for making our numbers go up. And I know that's thrilling to you also, Jack, and in the great gentleman that produces our show, Mr. John Stiles. John, thank you very much. You're doing a great job
extraordinaire.
Here. Extraordinaire. He's an extraordinary gentleman. Anything you want to say in closing, Jack, other than to thank our fans for watching? Keep watching, liking.
Just thank you for watching, especially if you're hearing this right now. If you've watched the entire video, thank you so much. And guess what? Let's keep growing. Like, subscribe, so then that way our message, our opinions can go out to more people. And thank you.
Well put. Thank you all for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Check us out on our NBA show. God bless.